This time I feel like making a video that won't really teach you English, but instead will tell you a story about teaching English. Specifically, it's the story of how I came to Vietnam and became an English teacher here. There are lots of people who've followed this channel for a long time, and lots who've studied in my classes, too. But very few people know the story I'm about to tell. I think you guys will find it interesting. This story starts during my time in college. At that time, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I didn't really know why I was even going to college in the first place. But I couldn't think of anything else to do, so I kept going. During the first 2 years at American universities, people haven't really started studying their majors, but instead just study some general subjects that the school requires them to study. Because of this, a lot of students don't even choose their majors until the start of their junior years. In the spring quarter of my second year, that is, spring of 2007, I was feeling really bored with the things I was studying, and I also thought it was about time to choose a major, so I decided to choose English as my major, with the hope that the courses in that major would give me some new inspiration. Let me explain a bit about what the English major is. It doesn't mean that those students need to study English the way you guys are studying it, because American students already know how to speak English. The English major focuses on literature, with a little bit on English linguistics. So, I spent 1 quarter in the English major, but when the quarter ended, the reality didn't meet my expectations. I still felt really bored. So I decided to drop out, even though my parents didn't approve. I moved back home and made a new plan to work, save money, and then travel abroad, because at that time, I had still never been to a foreign country, except for Canada, but Canada and America are pretty similar. So I lived at home, and went to work at a factory that made these big grain bins. I actually enjoyed doing that kind of manual labor, because I learned a lot of new things, and the wage there was okay, too. In February of 2008, I stopped working at the factory, and I set off on a solo trip to Australia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia. I traveled for about 4.5 months, and although I had lots of interesting experiences, I felt that, compared to my time in college, my time abroad wasn't really much happier. So I decided to return to college, finish my 2 years, get a degree, and then try to find some meaningful work. So I returned to school, worked really hard on an English major and a math minor, and after 2 years, I got this diploma. Very fortunately, I managed to find a job about a month before I graduated. It was at a company that organized conferences and exhibitions for all kinds of light-based technology, like lasers, telescopes, and sensors, to name a few examples. I started at that company exactly 4 days after graduating, and nearly everything there was really good. A nice office, a comfortable working atmosphere, a good wage, great benefits. Lots of paid time off. It had only one downside. The actual work I did was really boring. Every day of the week I had to, drag myself to work. The whole 8 hours at the office. I was practically bored to tears. After 2 years, in May of 2012, I couldn't take it anymore, and I quit, even though I didn't have any other plan. That summer I relaxed, went on trips with friends, and thought about what I really wanted to do. In the fall, when I didn't have a lot of money left in my account, one of my good friends suggested I try teaching English abroad. That friend had taught English in Korea. I visited him there once, and he had traveled in Vietnam, as well. He didn't like living in Korea, but during his time in Vietnam, he had met some English teachers, and they had told him that the students here are good, the salary is good, and the lifestyle is fun. And he personally really liked Vietnam, too. So he suggested I come here. At that moment, I thought to myself, yeah, 4 years ago I managed to survive a few months in Southeast Asia. I could probably survive a year or two in Vietnam, too. After that I researched a bit about teaching in Vietnam. I registered for a CELTA course at Language Link Hanoi, and at the end of March 2013, I came here. When I first got to Hanoi, it was about midnight, and at that time all the streets were really empty. The houses and signs all looked very strange, and I got really worried, like, shit. What the hell am I doing in this far-off country? What if I don't like living in Vietnam? What if I don't like teaching? The next day, however, I explored the city a bit, and I felt very relieved. With respect to Hanoi, I was pretty in love right from the start. A few days later, I started the CELTA at Language Link. During my time there, I taught primary school students, secondary school students, high school students, university students, and working people, too. Each age has its own pleasures. Primary and secondary school students are very funny and energetic. And they progress very rapidly, but teaching them can be exhausting. As for older students, they don't progress as fast as the younger ones, but they're mature, they're curious about Westerners, and in general, they're just easier to manage. My work at the moment is a bit different. I don't work at Language Link anymore. I only teach adults, and I also spend less time teaching than I used to. Because I want to spend time making videos, too. But I still really enjoy teaching English. Even if my YouTube channel got a few million subscribers and made enough money for me and my family to live comfortably, I would probably continue teaching, simply because I like the job. And that's my story. Hi everyone, my name is Dan. And today I'm going to tell you a story. The story of how I was inspired by domino. It was a summer day in April 2014. Only one day after I came back from my military training course. And you know what? Never in my life I think that domino, which means so much to me like this does now. At that time I always thought that my English sucked. I used to be really afraid of speaking in front of other people. I was worried that I would make mistakes. It was really difficult for me to find the right words express my ideas correctly. But then domino has turned me into a totally different person. You know what? I was so inspired by my teacher skills and personality. To me they always appear to be so confident and talented with their perfect American accent. I have always wanted to be like them. Those amazing people taught me not only about pronunciation and vocabulary, but also about how to speak in the most natural way. And step by step I could see that I was able to speak much more fluently and confidently. And the best part with that, I finally habituated myself to learn the English every day. I feel so thankful for what I have learned from domino. From my coaches and from my learning assistant who cared about my learning process even more than I did. And one thing led to another. I became a learning assistant at Domino. Being in LA, I had a chance to experience the feeling of doing something meaningful. I've got a chance to motivate students to learn English every day. And see the improvement through every single week. Thanks to Domino, I have not only improved my English, but also be inspired to become a teacher of course at Domino. I don't know how long it's going to take it, but I believe that it will come true soon because I'm trying my best.